Well, welcome to the Mary Red Nelson Panther Nation Alumni Show. I'm Slim Overton, and I'll be your host today. And we have some special guests with us, and we have, former president of the Mary Red Alumni Association, Dennis Riddick. We have the president, Natalie Johnson, and we have from BUU, from the assistant vice president, Joseph Brooks. And welcome, everybody. Thanks for
Welcome.
joining us this morning
Welcome.
Good morning.
on our show this morning. And we're going to talk about the VUU tour that's happening down here in Hampton Roads. But before we get started, I want Dennis to give a brief history of the Alumni Association so you'll know what we're all about.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you, Slim. And I appreciate all the things that you're doing for our chapter and for
Thank
Virginia
you.
and the students. I became president in 2019, and I served for 5 years. I'm just recently getting off, and now is the new elected president. Prior to that time, Mary Red Nelson, our chapter was known as the former chapter was known as VUU Hampton Roads Alumni Chapter, and there was several local chapters that had merged. The Portsmouth chapter, the Norfolk chapter, Chesapeake chapter, Virginia Beach chapter, they all merged to become the Hampton Roads Alumni chapter. So during pandemic, what we decided to do was to change the chapter's name. But prior to that time, what we got started was formulating a scholarship in the name of Reverend Joe B. Fleming. So in 2020, we named the scholarship the Reverend Joe B. Fleming Scholarship. So after that time, we renamed our chapter. We looked around and renamed our chapter a new name. It was called the Mary Red Nelson in 2021. And why did we do that? Because we looked at the duties and responsibilities and the heavy weight that Mary Red Nelson carried with the National Alumni Association. Mary at one time was the president of the BUU National Alumni Association. And not only that, she was the president of the Richmond chapter. And during that time, during the 70s and during the early 70s and 80s, Mary, as the president of the National Alumni Association, forged a chair on the Virginia Union Board of Trustees. So she was one of the first BUU National Alumni president to serve on the Board of Trustees, and she was first woman alumni president to serve. So right now, that's where we are. We decided to name our chapter in Mary's honor. So that is how our chapter became Mary Red Nelson of Hampton Roads.
Well, thank you, Dennis, and we certainly appreciate your service as president of the Alumni Association. A lot of great things happen under your leadership, and we really appreciate that. And we're moving forward with the new president, Natalie. And Natalie, give us a little caption of your goals going forward as president of the Alumni.
Sure. Thank you for having us. And I'm just thinking, oh, wait, how can we use this more throughout the year, featuring many of the alum and engaging the community? So I'm like writing down, utilizing this podcast for recruitment opportunities and engagement opportunities in the future. So thank you once again for allowing us to come on and talk about just what, as you call, the changing of the guard, but then also the upcoming events that we have going on next week in the Hampton Roads area. So I'm really excited to transition to this role, and I know I have some huge shoes to fill, as Dennis has been an amazing president, and so we have a lot of work to do. But the one great thing is that Dennis, as he always says, he's always there to support us. He's still part of the executive committee, and so definitely we'll be leaning on him and then the other executive committee members to ensure that we just continue the excellence that the Mary Red Nelson Hampton Roads Alumni Chapter has put forward through all of these years. But I have 4 areas that I'm looking to really focus on during my term as president. The first one is alumni engagement. We have quite a presence in the Hampton Roads area. I mean, Dennis just mentioned we had chapters in like all of the major cities, right? And so we've all come together, which makes perfect sense to just be one large chapter. But we've seen the list of alum in the Hampton Roads area. So we want to make sure that we are increasing our membership. We don't want anyone to think, oh, I'm down in the Hampton Roads area and I don't see a chapter. Oh, no, we're here. We're present. We have been present for years. But maybe it's just for some odd reason we have not been able to touch you, or you haven't heard where we are and what we're doing. So we really want to be able to increase our membership and engage our alum. So we have alum from got their bachelor's. We have alum from the School of Theology. So we really just are going to do some targeted recruitment in that area. And then also engage alum by doing some activities. Aside from in addition to our monthly chapter meetings, and then maybe even some of our events. I mean, let's get together. Like we're having the social mixer next week at Bar Louie. Maybe we'll do some of those things, or getting together to go to a football or basketball game, or, getting together just to do something fun. So that's the one area. The other area that we're focusing on is also just fundraising. As Dennis mentioned, we were able to establish 2 amazing endowments for the university. One with on behalf of Reverend Fleming, and then one for Mary Red Nelson, which is very near and dear to my heart because it will support students who are obtaining their degree in social work. That's what I got when I was at Virginia Union. I got my bachelor's in social work, so I love that one. And so we know that we are capable of raising funds. And so we want to continue to do that, continue to raise money so that we can support current students, future students, and just continue to have that presence and do some good work in the Hampton Roads area. So fundraising is one of the areas that we're really going to be focusing on as well. The other one is just recruitment and retention, right? So recruiting students. The Hampton Roads area is too close to Virginia Union for us not to have a presence at any of the college fairs that are happening in the Hampton Roads area. And so, really working closely with the university, if they're aware of a college fair that's happening in the Hampton Roads area and they need some extra hands to man those tables, we want to say, hey, if there's training that we have to go through in order to do that, we will. We have members who are retired that may make themselves available. We have individuals like myself. We're working throughout the day, but I can adjust my schedule to be there. So, utilize making sure we're wearing our VUU gear, as we're out and about as a way of recruitment. So just being able to do that, but then also retention. We want to make sure that the children or the students that are from the Hampton Roads area that are attending Virginia Union stay there. And so what are those things that we can do to help in those retention goals? And so, we've kind of talked kind of briefly about ways that we can engage with those students, supporting them during when it's midterms or finals, doing a send-off before they go back to school, or doing some type of activity when they're home for the holidays. One thing I know that we have done before in the past is supporting students that are in the band or on the football or sports teams, ensuring that, whatever fees that they have or items that they need to be successful in their activity, that they have that financial support. Maybe even just sending notes of encouragement. So that retention is important too. And then finally, just something new would be service, right? And so this is a way to get Virginia Union's name out there. Well, not out there because we're already out there, but so that people can see Virginia Union out there in the Hampton Roads area. If there's food pantries or other service projects where alumni can be engaged, we can come together and give back to the Hampton Roads community. Those are just some of the thoughts and ideas that we have. We have a lot of individuals, pastors from the School of Theology. My pastor is a graduate, got his bachelor's and his master's from the School of Theology. And so, having a VUU day at a local church, having a presence at the church and being able to give financially to the church, but then also just support that pastor as fellow Panthers or fellow Unionites. Those are just some activity ideas that we have. So I'm excited to move forward in this role. Like I said, we have a great executive committee. We have a new vice president, a new treasurer, and I know our treasurer has some really exciting ideas on how to get sponsorships. We are a 501c3. So we are really looking to do some big things within the next, I said, year or two with this new executive committee and with the chapter. And I really feel the excitement too from current chapter members. We have a lot of willing workers. We have our faithful supporters, and now we're just looking for others to join us to continue the work that we have been doing in the Hampton Roads area.
Okay, well, thank you. Very good points going forward. And I want to ask you real quick before I get to Mr. Brooks there. You know, it might be a lot of students that are kind of trying to decide between union and what's that green and gold place? I don't know. Well, anyway, between union and other colleges and universities. So I want to ask you, what made you decide to go to union? Were you undecided, or did you know right away that's where you wanted to go? What made you decide?
So it's funny. I was kind of undecided. I had 3 schools that I was interested in. It was Virginia Union, Hampton, actually, and South Carolina State. And it was Union that obviously won out, mainly for a couple of reasons. One, I was able to graduate with a bachelor's of social work, which was great for someone within that field. But then also a very dear friend of the family, I called him my uncle. He is a graduate of Virginia Union University, Dr. Luttrell Rainey, and he really encouraged me to go. I came from a small area, a small town. My high school wasn't huge. And the one thing that also drew me to Virginia Union was it wasn't like this huge school. You could really build relationship with your professors. It had a real nice family feel. And that was so attractive to me. So Union won out for a number of reasons. And I'm glad. I think it was 4 of the best years of my life on that campus.
Okay, you had an uncle there, so it's kind of hard to avoid those legacies. Anyway, Mr. Brooks, I want to thank you again for coming. I know you have a busy schedule, even on the weekends. If it's not union, it's family or everything. So thanks again. Please let us know, as vice president, assistant vice president, what is your role there? And I understand you're also part of a corporation foundation relationships at Virginia Union. If you can explain that, along with your other duties there at Virginia Union. And how did you get there?
Yeah, good morning, Slim. Yes. So I've been with the university. It will be 2 years here next month, which is tomorrow. Started in September 2022, and currently I manage and lead in the space corporations and foundations. And I'm in charge with, strengthening our relationships that we already have with our corporate and foundation partners, and also identifying new corporate and foundation partners that will provide gifts to the university. So I am, first of all, I just want to say I'm excited to work at Virginia Union University. It is a great honor to be able to work for an HBCU. I didn't attend a HBCU. I'm a graduate of Syracuse University, but if I had to do it all over again, I would definitely attend a HBCU because I really enjoy the family environment. I enjoy just immersing myself in the culture. I enjoy, working with the students, the faculty, and the staff, and of course, our president, President Akeem Lucas and his leadership team. So in that role, as I mentioned before, I work with managing the relationships and the partnerships that we have with corporations and foundations. So an example of that would be, we have a major event series at the school, which includes homecoming, our Founders Day, the MLK Community Leaders Breakfast, and also our awards gala. So I work on, establishing sponsorships for the major events through corporations and foundations. So, I make sure that we have corporate sponsors from companies like, a Dominion Energy or an Altria, a Centera Hospital, a Bon Secours, that they sponsor these events. And also the annual giving that they give to the university. I work with the leadership team on, those gifts that they provide, and also how we can expand, those relationships. So that's an example, of what I do at the university. Formerly, I worked with alumni chapters, but I'll continue to support them in any way I can. I also like to say that it's been great, working with current president Natalie Meade Johnson, and also past president Dennis Riddick. I'm excited about the event that we will have coming up here on Thursday, September 5th. And we call it a Panther Tour with the Mary Red Nelson chapter. I'm excited to work on the proclamation for Miss Mary Red Nelson, and then fellowship, the next day at Bar Louie with the local alum here, and then the football game, which we will have on Saturday versus Hampton, versus the Hampton Pirates, and we will certainly be looking to make the Pirate walk the plank. We've got a great football team. Last year, CIAA champions, and from speaking with the coaches, we have an even better team this year, and we should be favored to win it. I think our strongest competition will be Virginia State. Our team is actually playing today. They're opening up their season. They're down in Kentucky playing Kentucky State. So let's all cheer on our football team as we open up the football season. And
Go Panthers.
So we're going to start off hopefully with a victory today. So once again, thank you for allowing me to be on your show. And once again, it's an honor to work with President Johnson and President Emeritus, Mr. Riddick.
Yeah, and Mr. Brooks, before we go on, I want to ask you, you talked about the corporate sponsorship. How important is that as far as growth? We can't, most of our growth has to be on outside of our campus because, we can't really expand that much. We can have some inside, but how important is that corporate sponsorship as we go forward thinking about any kind of growth or any kind of projects that might benefit the university?
Oh, absolutely. It's very important, right? Whether it's, VCU or University of Richmond, they all have corporate, partnerships that help support the university. As a corporation, remember, you're also a anchor in the community, where you're domiciled. So you're also looking at the greater community and how you can uplift it. So that's what we look for our corporations and foundations. Also, one of the things, that I do in the role is looking for opportunities, whether it's internships or employment, for our students after they graduate, as they transition for the university. So, I'm very proud to say that I was a part of the inaugural launch of an internship at the Community Foundation of Richmond, which was the first of its kind. And we had a student by the name of Reagan Taylor, who was the first intern for the Community Foundation of Richmond, and she did a fabulous job. I wouldn't expect anything less from an AKA, and she did an amazing job, and she's got a great job offer. I believe she's up in Maryland, but that was an excellent launch pad for her. So once again, looking for opportunities, for corporations and foundations to also employ our students and get them ready for the work world.
Oh, so that's very encouraging, and I really appreciate your education at Syracuse, but I appreciate more that you're there at Union now, doing what you do.
Sir. It's an honor.
All right, let's talk about the VUU tour. down here. I don't know if Dennis or Natalie, if whoever wants to start and give us some information on that.
Natalie, you can take the lead.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so we are excited to, have an in-person meeting next Thursday. We'll be down at the Town Bank in Norfolk, right in that waterside area, for the Panther Tour. And so it's a great opportunity for alum and friends of the university to just kind of hear about what's going on with our chapter, meet the new executive committee. But the highlights of this opportunity is the proclamation. So we will have Virginia Union's own alum and Virginia delegate Nadarius Clark coming to do a proclamation for Mary Red Nelson. So that's really huge and exciting. So that's a celebratory moment for us, but then also for her. Because it's definitely well-deserved to have that. And then also we will have Mr. Brooks as well as Mr. Michael Manigault, and then our provost, Dr. Jacobs, come and just talk about some updates with the university, and then also focus on alumni giving and, how can we have more of an impact monetarily for the university. And so that's an exciting opportunity. It's going to be from 5:30. We'll have a reception. So it is around dinner time. So just an opportunity to get some food and some meet and greet and take some pictures and whatnot, just to have that opportunity to fellowship. And then we'll get started with the meeting at 6 o'clock. We'll also be joined in virtually by our president of the Virginia Union National Alumni Association, President Andrew White, will be doing some greetings virtually. So that's really great that she'll be able to join us that way. But we are inviting all alum from the area to come on out to Town Bank on Thursday, September 5th. These days are like running really fast, but it is the 5th. Swing on by and check us out.
Okay, now is there
proclamation?
Okay, is there a limit to the capacity, or will?
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful boardroom. That branch of Town Bank. Well, most of the Town Bank branches are absolutely gorgeous, but we are in the boardroom. It is about 40 some odd people that can come in, but space is still available. So definitely let us know if you're going to attend so that we can make sure that we stay within that space limit that we do have.
And I'll also ask you, and hopefully we fill that room up as far as the capacity with members. If it is filled, will there be an opportunity for other members to join virtually along with the president?
So we didn't put it out there like that. But I think what we could, probably do is share some highlights on our Facebook page as well. So for those that aren't able to attend, they can definitely hear about it, and then we might have some highlights out there. But we didn't throw it out virtually because we really want people to be in the space with us on that day.
Okay, sounds good.
So I also wanted to add that the Panther Tour really was a brainchild of the VUU National Alumni Association and Dr. Lucas. Prior to COVID, Dr. Lucas would travel around and try to go from chapter to chapter to put this footprint and get to meet the chapter presidents and the officers. Then all of a sudden, COVID came along. So we tried virtually, and now we're trying to go back to having reality, not just virtual, but in-person Panther tours. So this is one of the first ones. But they've had several other too, but this is one of the first ones that we're going to reestablish after the post-COVID.
So it looks like might be a 3-day event. So is the purpose also the event in Hampton to make sure we spread it out, because our membership is kind of spread out throughout the Hampton Roads area?
Yeah. And yes, so the event that's happening on the 6th, the Social Mixer in Hampton at Bar Louie, is also an opportunity for those that can't make it to the the Panther tour, because we will have information just about the chapter. And for those that want to pay their dues, we'll have the QR code there so you can make that payment rather easily. But then also just an opportunity to get excited about the game, which is the very next day. So, and then for people just to kind of come together and hopefully, see old friends or meet new friends. But you're right. This is a great way for us to now be on the peninsula area of the Hampton Roads area and just do something fun, kind of just a real informal meet and greet, eat, just enjoy each other's company, just have some fun, maybe do some, talk about what campus was like when we were there. And like I said, meet some new friends. I'm sure we have, alum from all ages. And so it would just be a great opportunity to come together and have some fun that Friday evening. And then just get prepared and excited for the next day as, we take down the Hampton Pirates.
And just to get questions. And so the first night is casual, right? Because you said boardroom.
We'd love for people to come in with their Virginia Union gear. It
Okay.
is right after work. So, I mean, we're not asking people to change or anything like that. So, if you're coming right from work, just, whatever you have on, business casual is fine. We are in the boardroom, but definitely if you have some Virginia Union paraphernalia, come on out and definitely show that and have that on, as we'll be taking some pictures as well. And so just to kind of get into that Panther spirit.
Mr. Brooks, did I see you raise your hand?
No, I was just,
okay.
I gave a thumbs up when President Johnson said, what we were going to do in the football game to the Hampton Pirates. So I was just seconding her.
Yeah, I think we owe them one. I think we lost that last one, if I'm not mistaken. But and then we beat them, and then I think they became afraid to play us. I don't know, but anyway, they're going to be afraid to play us again after this Saturday as well. But anyway, Dennis, talk about trying to get as many people at the game, because that support from the stands is also very helpful to the team, and just showing that school spirit, and people see that, and it makes them want to like what they're doing at Virginia Union. Even after they have long graduated from there, they're still showing that school spirit, and that has an effect on incoming students and the students that are there, to show that, it's the dedication from the alumni is still strong.
One of the things that has happened with our Mary Red Nelson chapter is that we have you as our media director. Many chapters do not have that, and we have our own Mary Red Nelson channel. So what we're using as PR and publications and getting out messages about we're here, also putting out positive messages in the community. Like today, once this airs, it'll go on and people can see it. What we've done is also at advertising, we put out flyers. We're out there in the community to say, hey, we have a footprint here in the Hampton Roads area, even with some of the events that we've been having, some of the fellowships. So that's been really positive.
Just like the educational thing with each one, teach one.
Yes.
Our thing can be each one, reach one. And, I think all of us know someone that's out there that went to Virginia Union and know about the alumni, but just haven't had the opportunity, and some that don't know. I was in a restaurant and just ran into somebody because I saw the hat he had on, and, they're out there. So, and getting those young people too, Natalie, the ones that most of the time people graduate and they don't get involved until maybe 4-5 years after they graduated. And I think we started something, Dennis, you can talk about that, how we pay for the first year of membership for new young students.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we have done is that the first year graduate seniors membership is free. What we try to do is also we partner with the university to have mentors. We've had 6 mentors, people identified that want to volunteer to work with the university to go there to be mentors to students. And we got a lot of people in the Tidewater areas, medical people, educators, social workers, business people who are retired and also are active and business owners who are graduates willing to participate in linking up and meeting with students to give them some type of guidance.
And I think, and Mr. Brooks, I saw some when I was looking at the VU page. I saw that this year we have a record enrollment for the class of 2028. What do you think attributes to that? Us all of a sudden, I think every year we've been sort of going up in our enrollment, but this year they're saying it's a record number of students admissions this coming in for the class of 2028.
Yeah, I think, Virginia Union historically has a very strong brand and a very strong brand here in the greater Richmond and Hampton Roads community, even though it attracts students, from across the U.S. So I think that is, certainly helps. There's been record enrollment at all HBCUs, by the way.
Yes.
And you can attribute that to a number of things. We have a woman and Miss Vice President Kamala Harris, who was a graduate from an HBCU, who is, running for the highest office, in the U.S. So, people who look
and
up.
Somebody's sorrow. Somebody's sorrow.
Absolutely. An esteemed soror, AKA, right? But you get young students, African American and students of color who see that, and they see that that can certainly be a launch pad to success, with any career. So I think those are some of the reasons why, and hopefully we will continue to see that, here in the years to come under President Lucas's leadership and direction here at the university.
And I have to ask this: with the record admissions there, how are we as far as accommodations for? I think, in years past, we with the enrollment, surging upward, we didn't have the capacity for all the people. Of course, we still wanted them to come, but we had to make other accommodations for them. How are we doing with that?
No, so I know that, first of all, not all the students are living on campus, right? Some of the students, live at home. Some of the students, we have virtual education, platforms, which is really new and very flexible for students. A lot of students prefer that, because of, work-life balance. So, we are working on, how we house our students, which all HBCUs are, because a lot of the, structures, are older, but, we're certainly accommodating them and looking for every way, to restore, our dorms, which is a challenge, like I said, for a lot of HBCUs. But here's the thing, they keep coming, and that's important.
Well, thanks. And Dennis, before we end, I'm going to give everybody a chance to have a last statement. But I want to ask you, Dennis, how important is it for the relationship between the alumni and the National Alumni Association? It seems like we have to be on the same page. So, and I think we've had a good relationship over the years, but I think that's very important too.
I think one of the key is knowledge. One of the things I found out as president too, and when you're inactive, you get misinformation. When you stay connected to your local chapter and when you go to the local meetings, you're getting the real life information that's coming down from the National Alumni Association, because our national president serves on the board. And when you're serving on the board, you get the information, the true information. But when you don't, you're only listening to speculations. So I applaud people to stay active with their local alumni chapter. It's very important that you get the right information. And Hampton Roads has been really successful in the information that we get, the information that's given to us, we're there on campus. We know what's going on campus. We talk to the president. Dr. Lucas, Dr. Lucas would give you his personal cell phone number, and he would call you back. He would text you back. He is a very hands-on kind of president. So if you got whatever question, and he loves to have town hall meetings. And if you have any questions about Virginia Union, he will talk to you, tease blue in the face to tell you what's going on at Virginia Union. So we do have some challenges with Board of Trustees. There's an elephant in the room that one of the things that we're looking at is that we are in good standings with national accreditation, but we have been placed on probation. So that information is supposed to be coming up, and a report is going to be coming out soon. But the Board of Trustees are doing everything in their power to make sure that Virginia Union is the stellar university that we know it can be.
Yeah, and our students are still coming out very well educated.
Oh, for sure.
And Natalie, before we go through the last comments, I wanted to, although, there are other HBCU alumni associations in the Hampton Roads area. And I joke about the Green and Gold, Norfolk State, and of course, Virginia State and Elizabeth City and Hampton. And I've had a relationship with all of them. And lately, Delaware State. And, even though we compete for students and we compete on the gridiron and the basketball courts and everywhere else, we still pretty much have the same goals as far as supporting our universities. But, I think we talked, and I think it might be good sometimes for those alumni associations to come together, at least the presidents, to talk about some of the things that they're facing and learn from each other. So how do you feel about that?
No, I think that's a great idea. I feel like, even just as you all talked about the increased enrollment at all HBCUs, that's amazing. And we find ourselves
stronger together,
a family, right? Where we can be on united front to, show the community that there's greatness that comes out of historically Black colleges and universities, regardless of which one you attend. I could not get my daughter to go to Union. She went with the green and gold. But I have no ill will for her about that. I'm glad that she had a wonderful experience at Norfolk State. But it was the fact that she actually wanted to go to HBCU, and she graduated from one that I felt like, this is wonderful, right? And so I love the idea of the presidents, or even just the alumni chapters, coming together. Even, doing something like this and just talking about our experiences and the benefits of attending HBCUs, or even just, coming together on united front and doing an activity, whatever the case may be. I think there's something there to have that level of relationship and connection with other alumni chapters from different universities throughout the Hampton Roads area.
Okay. I want to thank everybody again for coming on. And at this time, if anybody have any last comments they'd like to make before we sign off.
A special shout out to our National Alumni President, Dr. Andrew White. President White, wishing you a speedy recovery. I'm glad you're back in the saddle, and you are in our thoughts and in our prayers for Mary Red Nelson.
I certainly second that. Dennis, his prayers for President Andrew White and a speedy recovery. May she be covered by the Lord. And may our events this week be covered by the Lord. May we have a great time in fellowship and, just an uplifting time with Miss Mary Red Nelson, and then a great experience, for our fellowship event and for the football game. And thank you, Slim, for this platform and allowing us to speak. And, thank you. I know that you're a pioneer in this space, and you really keep the alumni connected here in the Hampton Roads area. So thank you for all of your efforts in continuing to do that.
Okay. And I just want to ask you real quick, you didn't attend Virginia Union, but are you going to chapel?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
You going to chapel every week? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's a requirement. You know that, right?
Yes. I need
Natalie, any last words?
No. That was funny because I love those chapel days. You had to make sure you go so you can graduate. So no, definitely am continually praying for President White. Had an opportunity to speak with her just about 2 weeks ago, and I'm excited to work with the National Alumni Association on a different level. But for those that are thinking about, do I join this chapter or not? How do I get engaged? Just know that a strong membership leads to greater impact. And the more that we do here in the Hampton Roads area just leads to great impact for what's going on with our beloved university and then just what we're doing in the Hampton Roads area. So don't second guess it. Just come on, join us, and let's get to work.
And Dr. Lucas, you need to know you got our support.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. Thanks everybody for being here today. And thanks everybody for watching. And remember, each one can reach one to bring them into the fold so we can support our university. Take care and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.